Does my narcissistic parent really love me? Yeesh, that is a deep question. And it's not an easy one to answer. I've had so many of my clients throughout the years ask this question of themselves and try to understand, well, what does this mean? And a lot of them arrive at no, they don't feel loved. But in this video, I'm going to talk about what is love. I'm going to talk about what a parental figure does that can make us feel loved or not loved, and that relationship to lovability that we have when we go through being raised by a narcissistic parent. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth. I'm a transpersonal psychologist, holistic nutritional chef, and best-selling author of Get Well Now, Healing Yourself with Food and the Power of the Mind. And I help wounded ACONs, adult children of narcissists, to become healed icons. And what's an icon? An icon is somebody who's independent, confident, original, and naturally you. And I do this in my therapeutic coaching program, Iconic Me. And I also do it in my online videos here on my YouTube channel. So go ahead and please hit subscribe and like if you want to follow me and learn more about how to heal from narcissistic abuse and those wounds that happen from parental narcissistic abuse holistically, mind, body, soul. All of you gets wounded when you go through parental narcissistic abuse. So let's get on to this topic. This topic is really heavy, and I examined this with a lot of my clients when they get to that core wounding of feeling as though their parent didn't really love them, wasn't really there for them. And it's one of the most confusing things because they do so many things that make you feel as though you're not lovable. They do so many things, so many tactics to manipulate you and control you to get you to do what they want you to do, that you'll feel like you're not even a person. You'll feel more like an object. And that's part of the thing with being the child of a narcissistic parent, is that they do see you as an object. They see all things as objects. They see you as an extension of them. And so that's really hard to fathom when you are somebody who is empathetic and caring and thoughtful and kind and isn't hypercritical. Maybe you are with yourself. That tends to be what happens to us ACONs. We'll really push that wounding in on ourselves, and then we self-criticize and we self-judge, and then we judge others and criticize others, but mostly in our heads. We don't often put that out into the world, but sometimes we do. And we just recycle these behaviors that we don't want to help us really look at, does my parent love me? I often will tell my clients to Google this question. How do I know if my parent really loves me? And the thing with love is that it requires connection. And when you have a narcissistic parent, you feel not connected to them at all. They don't connect to you. They're not interested in you. They don't want to know like what you're into, unless of course it's something that helps them or makes them look good. And then they're going to get that, what they call narcissistic supply. I just call it energy. They're just basically pulling that energy from you and from other people to try to make themselves feel good, make themselves feel pumped up through their narcissism. So one of the things it says here is it's natural to wonder if your parents love you. When you are the adult child of a narcissistic parent, it is imperative to wonder that, because you will feel unloved and you'll feel unlovable. And I think a lot of this comes from something from their own wounding, that narcissistic parent's wounding. And it's something that I often will say is that that narcissistic parent is not able to let love in and not able to let love out. So they're like in this prison. And then this prison that they put themselves in, they also put you in one. And I call it the prison of silence, where you're not supposed to talk about what's important to you, what you love, what you think, what your opinion is. You're only supposed to hold the opinion of one person in the family, and that is of the narcissistic parent. So Some of the things that really indicate if your parent really loves you are consistent care, emotional support, and a feeling of safety. And I can tell you with every person I've ever worked with and in my own experience that you never feel emotionally safe with a narcissistic parent, and you never feel seen, heard, or truly understood or emotionally supported. That's something they're not able to provide, because one of the things that's really required for true emotional support is empathy, that ability to feel with someone else. It's not about feeling for someone else. Narcissists can be capable of tremendous sympathy, where they can feel sorry for somebody. They can feel bad for somebody as it relates to them. It's not really about the other person. They're still going to make that drama or whatever it is that they're experiencing about somebody else. They're going to make it about themselves ultimately. But not in an empathetic way. So this is one of the reasons why you never feel connected to your narcissistic parent, is there's not that empathy coming back towards you. They don't know how to access it. They're completely cut off from that. And love and empathy are like this. Intuition and empathy are like this. Those things are all intertwined with one another. And all of those things get divided inside of the narcissistic parent, and the narcissistic parent divides you from those things as well. So those are strong indicators of parental love, but the consistent care, emotional support, and feeling of safety. However, expressions of love can vary. Some parents are more openly affectionate, while others show love through actions like providing for your needs and making time for you. Now, often the narcissistic parent will not make time for you, or if they do, again, it's going to be about something that'll make them look good. Like if they show up to your recital, it's either to get some supply from what you're doing, or it's to get supply from other people, that energy from other people who are like, oh, your daughter is so amazing, or your son is so amazing, I'm really inspired by them. And then they just get puffed up, and, they want to feel something. They want to feel something good, and they want recognition. And they need that recognition as well. And this goes beyond like a normal sort of needing or wanting recognition from people. If you feel loved and supported by your parent, that's a really good sign. And I can tell you that the adult children of narcissists that I've worked with don't feel loved and don't feel supported by their parents. Now, if they're the golden child, they might feel that way. But again, it's still not about them. It's about the parent and what they're getting from the relationship, which isn't really a relationship, because a relationship is a two-way street. But with a narcissist, it's not a two-way street. It's a one-way street, and their way. That's saying it's my way or the highway. There is no highway with a narcissistic parent or a narcissist in general, whether that be your mate or somebody you work with at work or whatever. Okay, here's something else. Providing for your basic needs is something that they say is how you can tell if your parent loves you. This includes food, shelter, clothing, and healthcare. Basic needs are basic. That's why they're called basic needs. That's the very minimum, the bare minimum of what a narcissistic parent can give you, what any parent can give you. But when you don't have the next thing that they say here, offering emotional support, this includes listening to you, offering comfort during difficult times, and validating your feelings. Those three things, you never get that from a narcissistic parent. They're never going to validate your feelings. They're not going to hear what you have to say. They're not going to listen to what's going on with you. And if you go to them with a problem, say you're heartbroken, it was your first love and they broke up with you, and they're going to say something really critical to you, like, oh, just get over it. You're ridiculous. You're too young to even be in love. They're going to say something to shut you down and make you feel worse than you already do. So then you're going to feel like they're kicking you when you're down. And that's typically what a narcissistic parent does, because they don't know how to nurture you, how to uplift you, how to help you feel expanded, heard, seen, understood, and truly loved. So then you're going to go, well, so yeah, my narcissistic parent doesn't really love me. Some parents hug and say, I love you, and express affection through physical touch, making time for you. And some narcissistic parents are actually kind of affectionate people. because it gives them supply. But they're going to cut off that affection at a moment's notice whenever you do something that they don't approve of or that you got wrong. And so you're always going to feel like that affection or whatever kind of support they're seeming to give to you doesn't feel real. And it really isn't. It's actually fake. It's a false persona or false things because you're also going to feel manipulated because they use the love bombing and the affection and all of that stuff as a way to keep you in their back pocket so that when they need you, they can use you for that thing. You get so love starved and so affection starved that when they're nice to you, it's like, oh my God, this is like Christmas. My parent is being so nice to me. There they are. There's that nice parent that I always wanted and always thought I should have. But ultimately, you're going to get slammed back down again. And this happens every single time with a narcissistic parent. So then again, you're just going to be like, yeah, I don't feel loved and I don't feel lovable. And that's a big thing that you'll encapsulate into, you'll hold it in your body. And it's awful when you feel unlovable, like you don't deserve love because your own parent wasn't able to provide it for you. And then maybe the other parent felt really like they had to pull back because, and they couldn't be too loving because of the pressure they were getting from the narcissistic parent. So you may feel like very confused about, well, what is love? When do I feel it? And does my parent actually really love me? So, another thing that parents will do, loving parents will offer guidance and support. Parents who love you will want to help you to learn and to grow, offering advice and encouragement along the way. Now, they may offer you advice, but it's going to be directives. It's not going to be true advice. Like, here's what I think you could do, take it or leave it. That's advice. But it's going to be more like, you should do this. And if you don't do that, then you're in trouble with that parent. So advice is really, it's more like their opinion. It's my way or the highway thing again, but there is no highway again. So you have to really look at, do I really feel like they're giving me supportive advice? Or are they also using that opportunity to give advice as a way to put you down, as a way to say something to you like, oh, you're just too sensitive. Oh, you just need to get a thick skin. You need to toughen up. Or, they're just trying to shut you down and shut out the possibility of that intimate connection, that emotionally intimate connection that we all want with our parents, that we all want with anybody that we have a relationship with. Respecting your privacy. This is another way that we can tell that our parents love and respect us, right? Respecting your privacy. While they may need to know certain things, loving parents respect your boundaries and personal space. Eesh. Okay, so if you have a narcissistic parent, you know that they didn't respect boundaries. You don't get to have boundaries. And when you try to make boundaries, they will be violated every single time. So you just don't even try. You eventually give up trying to set boundaries for narcissistic parents. But you can learn to set boundaries for yourself. Now, that's a different story. And that's part of what you learn in the healing process. So if this stuff is resonating with you and you're just going like, wow, ding, 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 like, wow, I really don't feel loved by my narcissistic parent. And you want to learn more about how you can help yourself to heal through this, just go ahead and like this video, put something in the comments, like anything that's coming up for you, anything you might want to hear more about in another video. And also subscribe to this channel so you can get more information about how to heal holistically, mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically, and spiritually from the wounds of parental narcissistic abuse. Okay, so on to, does my narcissistic parent love me? When I Googled, how do I know if my parent loves me? Here's something else that was said. Being consistent and reliable. Love should be consistent, not conditional. A loving parent is there for you through thick and thin, even when you make mistakes. okay, I can like feel the energy of those of you watching who have narcissistic parents. You're just like, oh my God, no, they were not there for me through thick and thin. They think they were because, they clothed me or they fed me or they sent me to college. But they weren't actually really there for me. They couldn't really show up for me in the way that a connected, loving, supportive kind of parent could. When you make a mistake, oh boy, are you going to pay for that mistake? You're going to pay for it big time. And the punishment, and there's always going to be a punishment, is going to be much, much bigger than the actual thing that you did. The punishment is always bigger than the quote unquote crime. And so often it's not even a crime. It's just you being a teenager, you exploring things that every other teenager explores, but you're in massive trouble for that thing that the narcissistic parent now can punish you for and can just kick you when you're down around. So consistent and reliable love should be consistent. The narcissistic parent is always consistent. The only consistent thing about a narcissistic parent is that you will always know that the other shoe is always going to drop. They're always going to get mad at you for something. They're always going to come back and criticize you, blame you, shame you, scapegoat you, especially if you're in the scapegoated role. They're going to completely ignore you much of the time if you're in the invisible role, or maybe you go back and forth. If you're in the golden child role, you might get a lot of love bombing, faux love, but it's not true love and support. It's going to be based on a transaction. It's going to be based on a condition. And so when you feel that conditional love, I get love, I get compliments. Maybe you probably don't even get many of those. I get this that's remotely good from my narcissistic parent when I do this. That's an exchange. And that's because a narcissistic parent, a narcissist in general, any narcissist is going to be attached to stuff, money, objects. They don't see any differentiation between themselves and the object, and they get supply from the object, but only for, a little bit of time before they have to find the next object. And you are an object, and you will feel like an object in their life, of, you're supposed to do this for them and do that for them and jump through hoops of fire. And then, oh, you didn't jump through the hoop right. And then now you're on fire because you're being criticized and blamed and shamed and guilted because you got it wrong once again. And that's called the double bind. If you haven't heard me say that, it's a manipulation tactic from narcissists, where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And this is one of the things that makes you feel divided. And when it comes to love and being loved and feeling loved by your own parent, you're not going to feel those things. You're going to want to so badly, so desperately. And this is part of the process of the healing, is grieving the idea of the parent that you always wished you had, but you're never going to have. You have to grieve that idea. You have to let that part of you set that idea aside and learn to accept this is what we have. This is what I've had to deal with, and become your own sovereign self. Become the icon in your own life. That's somebody who's independent, confident, original, and naturally you. You become that in your own life, and you stand in your own truth and your own authenticity. And you may be going, oh my God, how do I even begin to do that when you've been defined your whole life by a narcissistic parent who didn't know how to love you, didn't know how to connect with you and give you emotional support and keep things in confidence. This is something too that they'll tend to do, is they'll collect information on you and then they'll use it against you later. So you learn that you can't trust them with your heart. You can't trust them with the things that are difficult for you to go through. So you just won't even go to them for any assistance or help. And they may be in this space where they're love bombing you and you're in their good graces again. And then you feel an opening like, oh, maybe now I can share. And then you'll share, and then it'll come back to bite you later. Or sometimes it'll come back to bite you right in that moment. But it always comes back to bite you. And that's one of the things that makes you go, okay, I just don't I don't feel loved by my narcissistic parent. And holding this belief in your body, holding the shame and the guilt and the unlovability can be damaging to you. It can be something that drains you so much of your energy that you feel sick, you get sick. That was me. I got sick over a dozen illnesses. And if this stuff is resonating with you and you want to look at your nutrition, you want to look at, what am I eating to support my body to heal itself? If you have an eating disorder or if you have emotional eating issues, those kinds of things, that's something that I can help you with, because it's really the emotions, how the body's holding that emotional experience, the thoughts, the feelings, the beliefs, those negative core beliefs that create your perception and create your experience that are holding you back. It's not the narcissistic parent. It was, and it may seem like that. It's the way that you now perceive the world based on the programming that they did with you. So when you release yourself from the programs, those thoughts, feelings, and negative core beliefs that are being held in the body, this is what I help people do with my proprietary technique, whole person integration technique. When you release those things, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to be able to really embrace you and who you were meant to be, and embrace the parts of yourself that you weren't really allowed to explore because of your narcissistic parent. You're going to learn skills on how to be in relationship, how to talk through things with people, how to reach out and say, hey, is everything okay with us? And be able to hear what the other person has to say, and those seem like foreign concepts when you've been in what I call the prison of silence that the narcissistic parent puts you in. You will feel imprisoned by them. And you will keep yourself in that prison and that isolation, sometimes for most of your life. You might be in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, and wake up and go, wow, this has been my biggest issue all along, and I didn't even know it. So if this stuff resonates with you and you are going, okay, I think I need to talk to this woman and I maybe need to work with her. If you're maybe interested in working with me, then go ahead and book a free call with me. The links are in the comments in the description below. And we can talk about what your goals are, what you're going through, and what you might need help with. And if I can't help you, I'll redirect you to someone else. So who may be able to help you as well, because I'm connected in with a lot of amazing holistic healers in all different arenas. So I thank you so much for listening to this video. I know it's really tough to examine this question, and I'd love to know in the comments below what you think, what you believe, and what you feel about your narcissistic parent and love. And do you feel loved? And do you love you? Because ultimately, you going on the journey of learning to love and embrace yourself just as you are is brilliant. It's the most incredible journey that you will ever go on. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth, and I hope that this information will help you get well now.